Everybody is entitled to an opinion. Some people's opinions are stupid. I mean, we can all agree on that.
There's no stupid questions, just stupid people.
Yes, exactly. Hey everybody.
What up?
Welcome back to Cattablah, the channel that has it all, except a big following. So...
It's the most passive-aggressive thing.
It's not that passive. Whoa!
I didn't know I could do that!
I told you could do that.
Oh,
right? You have another...
Wow!
You got another bear.
Wow! That was fun.
Wow!
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's like, what a good start to an episode
That was
there.
great.
He is so excited.
Woo!
Oh, wow!
So for anyone that's new, this is our Talk and Play podcast series. It is a podcast over retro video games, where we talk about anything under the sun, and everybody's entitled to their opinions.
Yep.
And that's kind of the topic.
Except us.
Yeah.
No, we're not just specifically talking about us.
I am.
Oh.
No, that's why it came up, is had a lot of people, commenting in the past here or in real life saying, yeah, you guys should stay away from a couple of subjects. Why? I don't get that notion of why people shouldn't have their own opinions.
And, oh, you didn't get them? I thought you hit them.
I did.
A lot of it is like, people, if you say something that they don't want to hear, then you're a bad guy instantly, and like that's just something that you shouldn't talk about now because they don't want to hear it. And and we've said this multiple times before, it's like, on this channel, we're here to have an open discussion on, on anything, really. And we want to keep it respectful for everybody. And we want to view both sides of the argument. But this extends into real life as well. You have a conversation with somebody. You're talking about politics, or you're talking about some world event, or you're talking about maybe a personal event. And then you have somebody else that will tell you, oh, well, what makes you an expert on the subject, or why, you shouldn't be talking about this or whatever. It's like, I didn't realize that we needed to have full credentials to be able to have an opinion on something.
Yeah, like where's your credentials to talk about politics? I live in this country and I live in this world, and politics, as much as you don't want to admit it, does affect me.
You gotta go that way, man.
How do I get over there?
You don't go that way. You've already been that way. Go that way.
Have I?
Yeah,
Oh.
That's the way. And I mean, that's exactly it. It's like, everybody is entitled to an opinion. Some people's opinions are stupid. I mean, we can all agree on that.
There's no stupid questions, just stupid people.
Yes, exactly. And stupid questions from stupid people. But that's the biggest thing, though, is anybody should be able to talk about anything, and I feel like everybody should keep an open mind when talking about stuff. You don't necessarily... Okay, hold on. I got a Simon here. B-X-B-B-A. I did it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, anybody should be able to talk about anything with an open mind, without... Because I feel like people take offense to opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You try and have a conversation about something, as soon as you have a differing opinion, all of a sudden they just get mad.
I don't remember this guy.
You don't remember this guy?
He's creepy looking.
A little bit. Uh-oh. That sucked. Yeah, it's like they assume that as soon as you have a different opinion on... Oh, God, I need the... Oh, great. Well, there we go.
Well, that's what you wanted.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah, God, I'm never going to get this thought out. As soon as you have a differing opinion, they just assume that you're attacking them. And, like, why do you take offense to having a different opinion? An opinion's just an opinion. Just because you don't agree on something doesn't mean that, it's the end of the world and that this person hates you and is attacking you. Like, why would that mean that? We don't have to take offense to everything, we have to accept that we're not going to agree on everything. I mean, that's basically politics in a nutshell, really. Like, what do you think that they do when they get together? They have differing opinions. They talk about these things. Oh God, they talk about these things. People don't agree. I mean, that's just what it is. And I mean, real life is the exact same. You can't expect that you're gonna agree with everybody on everything, and you also can't get mad at people for having a different opinion about it. And I find that happens a lot, especially with politics. Is that as soon as you don't believe in the same things, or you don't like the same candidate, presidential whatever candidate, now all of a sudden you're an idiot, and how could you possibly think that, and this and that. It's like, I'm sorry that we don't have the exact same morals and want the exact same thing. How like, that's totally unrealistic to think that everybody is going to agree on everything.
Yeah. Like what I want in life and what I want to happen or to change may be extremely different than your opinion.
I don't think there's anything for you back there.
There was a bee.
Oh yeah, I guess you needed the barrel for it.
Get it. Get some.
And I mean, I know we're talking about politics now, but this really applies to anything.
Yeah, and
like freedom of speech we have freedom of speech for a reason. You shouldn't be afraid to say something within reason. Like, we don't condone, obviously, hate speech.
No.
But at the same time, if we're talking about something, we should be able to have opinions and not take it as a personal attack on each other. I think if you go, well, you might be able to hit him if you go further back, but I think if you go to the right and then back around, you can get down there. So yeah, as I'm saying, it doesn't have to be a personal attack on you just because your opinions are different.
Yeah.
And people should be able to say something. They believe in this, or they have an opinion on this. Just because your opinions aren't the same and you don't think that this person is an expert on something, well, they may still have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Just because they have an opinion on something doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to talk about it if you don't think that they're right or that they should have an opinion on it. And there's a lot of people will do that. Wow, I didn't even beat that one. He was just so floaty, I couldn't get it out.
I know. No, and that's it's a massive problem. Like, anywhere you look, you've got look at anti-vaxxers, but that's a totally different thing. Like,
I know we say freedom of speech, freedom to do whatever you want, but we also said no hate speech. I don't want to say it's hate speech, but
you're killing your kids.
You're literally. Like, all of a sudden, these kids are now contracting diseases that were all but eradicated by having vaccines for them.
Yeah.
They're...
What was the point of that?
There was a couple bananas.
Oh, that was it, eh?
Yeah. They're, you want your kid to have polio? You want them just to have crippled legs because, all this research that was done against it... that find that vaccines are fine, but you still stick to that one where you think that they're not fine. That was proven to be a hoax, by the way, or just incorrect. And then now you're allowing your children to die or come up with these diseases that were extinct.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess it is your child. It's freedom of speech and whatnot. Like, we're just talking about it, but at the same time, you're endangering people's lives.
You should be in jail, as far as I'm concerned. It's the whole freedom of speech and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You shouldn't really go after them. I think that kind of stops when you're actively hurting someone, and it doesn't even have to be physically. Like, if your opinion is that you hate someone because of their gender or their sexuality or the color of their skin, you're wrong. That's bad, and I don't agree with you, and that is not the basis of freedom of speech. You should, if you try to say, well, I can say these racial slurs because of freedom of speech, that's it's not really what it's there for, and you're kind of a dink.
Well, and like the thing that we even said before, it's, we believe in being able to talk about anything and having freedom of speech as long as it's respectful and not harmful.
Yeah.
And I feel like that should be the bait. Like, I have the right, to not be attacked or discriminated against from somebody else. But then, yeah, where does that freedom of speech end? Because, like, yeah, we can't really pick and choose. It's easier if you use Dixie and then you kind of float. Yeah, are we allowed to just pick and choose, or do we just say everybody is entitled to freedom of speech? They can say whatever they want. Just, yeah.
Perfect.
There might be something to the left, too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, where do we draw the line? Where do we say that, everybody's allowed freedom of speech, but you're not allowed to say that because that can hurt this group or that group or, whatever. It's harmful to them, harmful to me. Maybe I guess they should be able to say whatever they want, but
I have this rule that there's a good rule for everybody out there. If you have to do this before you say something, you probably shouldn't be saying it.
But at the same time, in this day and age, though, a lot of that... No, you don't have Dixie, you can't get across. Oh, wait, no. That's not this part, that's a different part. A lot of that can happen is like, maybe I want to talk about, whatever controversial subject. Not necessarily, I'm telling, a racist joke or something like that. Maybe I just want to talk about a kind of a taboo subject, so I have to look around to see who's there to know whether or not I'm going to offend or somebody's going to get mad by whatever I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Because, that does happen too. It's like all of a sudden,
Oh my gosh!
All of a sudden it's not necessarily a harmful thing to say. It's just people can take offense to it.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if I really consider that an issue with freedom of speech, because people can get offended by anything. Blah, 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 blah. What did you say? I wasn't reading. I might have to go back there because I wasn't paying attention. But, like, yeah, where do you guys think... Okay, hold on. You think you're going to find everything? You don't know there's a lost world? Oh. Where do you guys think... What do you guys think of freedom of speech? Which way are you? Are you of the... the kin to say... okay, yes, we're saying that freedom of speech... is freedom of speech. It's black and white. You either should be able to say everything or you should be able to not say anything. Or do you think it's okay to say, it's kind of pick and choose. It should be freedom of speech, but within a reasonable limit.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Tell us down in the comments what you guys' opinions on that are. Because it's really tough to say when you look at it from the point of saying, yeah, I think freedom of speech is great, but I don't think people should be attacking other people with speech, and then...
But where do you draw the line?
That's exactly it.
Like, and I know we had a subscriber comment before that people make Jewish jokes all the time, and that really offends him, but in society it's just kind of accepted as being funny and whatnot. But really, it's pretty gosh darn racist if you look at it from that way. So
then you know what? It's kind of the same, like, that happens. It's almost like a religion thing. Not all religions, obviously. Some people get very offended, and I don't know how they ended up getting immune to that kind of thing. But, like, people make jokes about priests all the time, right?
Yeah.
You hear tons of priest jokes or jokes about the religion. And you know what? I may take offense to it, but I'm not going to, really come down on somebody for making a joke like that. I don't like it, sure, but at the same time, freedom of speech, I'm the one who's getting offended by it. It's my choice to be offended by it because of what I believe in. Should they be allowed to say it? Should Should it be an issue just based on, it's only affecting me at the time, or
There's
what?
12 of these.
Yeah, there's
that
one.
you've got. So. Nope.
Yeah, my buttons are all goofy. It's because of how I believe in it. Where I'm preaching. Oh gosh. What was I saying?
I definitely get what you're saying. Like, it's a whole thing. If you're gonna offend someone, you probably shouldn't say it. You also kind of got to pick your audience with that one, because I'm on the other side of the fence, and it's kind of weird because like you don't like those jokes. It might offend you, but what offends me is when a super religious person tells me that my views are wrong because the Bible says this, and that offends me. Nope.
I thought I was done after that.
But that does happen to me a lot, where it's like my thoughts on, let's say, gay marriage. I think that should have never been an issue as far as I'm concerned. But then I have had people even recently say it's against God. Oh, I don't really care what the Bible or God says. I want these people to be happy, and as far as I'm concerned, God would want these people to be happy as well, right? Like He's made everybody in His vision, right? Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing about it. So if there's gay people, is God not a little bit,
Well, have you the new Pope has actually come out and said, we should be loving gay people just like we love everybody else. Like, we're not spreading hate here.
Yeah.
And he's been really good because he's been making a lot of these. He's with the times. Every other pope has been very old school, this is how it's always been, this is what it was back in the day, that's how it is now. Whereas the new pope is a lot about, science and technology, these advances are good. That's, that we're helping people, we're doing this, we're doing that. And he's really progressive. He's like, yeah, gay marriage, we should love gay people, just like anybody else. We're not here to spread hate. How can we say that we're, spreading peace and love when we're saying we don't like you, we don't like you, we don't like you? We can't say that.
Yeah.
And he's been making a lot of strides, and which is okay. So, but to go back to what I was talking about before, I can't be offended by something when I'm trying to preach we should be able to talk about anything. People have their own opinions, and we shouldn't hate each other for those opinions. And I mean, we've talked about it before where, Dustin used to be an atheist, now he's agnostic. We used to have differing opinions on it, but it's not something that was ever, I hate you because you think, you didn't believe in God, or you didn't like my religion, or whatever. It doesn't have to come to that. And I mean, freedom of speech, I feel, is... You have to practice what you preach.
I think
based on that, you really have to practice what you preach.
But you and I kind of have it down, where like Josh said, I was an atheist for pretty much my entire life until an event a couple of years ago, and he grew up in a Catholic family, extremely devoted Catholic, and while we have discussions about religion, and this is the difference, is we also know things that we shouldn't say. We know that we should never say, well, I can't believe you believe in that. You should be doing this. And really, that's the way it should be, civil discussions, information, and whatnot. And, you can have conversations with people with differing opinions without offending them. And that's something that I find is missing today, as you've got people that get over-offended, and then you've also got the people that live to offend.
Yeah. And it's just, you have to leave emotion out of it.
Yeah.
Because people, as soon as they get offended, then they relate that with an emotion. Usually it's anger. And then that's where, and I feel like we've talked about this a million times.
Yeah.
But it keeps coming up. And it's just, leave the emotion out of it. You can have your disagreements. You just have to accept that we don't agree on something. And that's fine. Not everybody's going to agree on everything.
Just be kind to each other. We've said it so many times. You got to be kind to each other. Don't actively try to be a butthole.
Yeah. And back to the original point, I feel like anybody should be able to have a discussion on any topic, have their opinions on it. And, you may not agree with it, I may not agree with you, whatever. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't still be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's why the whole saying, we, agree to disagree. Yeah, we agree that we can agree on this, and that's fine. That's fine. And we're going to leave it off there. It was a bit of a long episode. And I feel like I had deja vu. I feel like we've had this conversation before, but you can never have this conversation too many times. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.